Just got done watching Jack versus Degale. Scored a majority draw in the end, with one judge having it in favour of James Degale. I'd scored the fight 1-1-4, 1-1-2 to Degale. The first round, he put Jack on the floor, and in the last round, Jack put Degale on the floor. Throughout the fight, in the first round, of course, it's a 10-8 round to Degale with the knockdown. Degale trying to take centre of the ring, but then Jack quickly changed that around. Degale, throughout the fight, was on the outside, peppering Jack with combinations. Jack looked strong coming forward. Degale hitting a lot of gloves. Jack had a good defence, but he was scoring too. All round, it was a good fight. Definitely worth a rematch. At the end, when they were doing the post-fight interviews, James Degale was all for having a rematch. Jack straight away said, at light heavyweight. Then, after Floyd complaining about the decision in the post-fight interview, he said that Badou Jack had outgrown the division and he was too big to stay at 168, and that they wanted to have this fight tonight, obviously in their plan to win it, and then they were going to move up anyway. So we're yet to see if there will be a rematch or not, as Callum Smith is mandatory for one of the belts. I think it's the WBC. So he might be fighting Jack next if Jack doesn't move up, rather than Degale having the rematch with Jack. It was a really good fight. It would be well worth another go if they can come to some kind of agreement. But Badou Jack, in the first 4 rounds, was just trying to adjust and adapt and get used to Degale's speed, I felt. Degale very light on his feet, hitting with combos, but Jack strong but starting slow, as usually normally comes on later in fights anyway. And then I feel from the 5th round onwards, Jack started to get more into the fight. Degale slowed down a little bit. It seemed like between rounds 5 and rounds 8, progressively round 5, round 6, round 7, and then culminating in round 8, Jack really dominated and stuck it on Degale to the point where it was kind of touch and go. Is he going to be able to continue? As in, he was really being dominated, and you thought round 9, 10, 11 and 12, if it was to carry on like round 8 did, what's going to happen with Degale? But round 9 arrives, and Degale comes out and does some really nice combinations and really picks his work rate up. I think although he said he'd be fighting every round and every minute of every round, that thing where he takes a few rounds off in the middle rounds, it seemed like 5 to 8 he slowed down a little bit. Then after a really bad 8th round, he come back in the 9th, and I did give him that round. Then round 10, again, he was pretty good. Combinations. Jack didn't really do anything for the first 2 minutes. It was all Degale. Jack seemed to be slowing down, if anything, a little bit at that point. Then round 11, James Degale comes out working well again. And Jack's power, the pop in his shots between, say, rounds 5 to 8, wasn't quite there the same. And I had Degale winning 11. And of course, the final round, you can't give it to anyone but Jack, having put Degale on the floor. Degale trying to hang on for his life in the last round. He really did fight tough, and that strength and conditioning coach that he's added to his camp must really have helped out in that last round, because Jack was hitting him with all sorts of shots and he was hanging in there, whatever way anyone wants to look at it. And of course, Jack's round, in the last 10 seconds he did start throwing again. Degale and landed a few clean shots just before the bell. But overall, a really good fight. I'd scored it 1-1-4, 1-1-2 to Degale. But give or take a couple of rounds were scored even, in my opinion. You know, it could have went either way or a draw. I wouldn't have really scored it to Badou Jack. I would have scored it as a draw. If not, you know, I wouldn't have been mad if it had been scored a draw, like it has been a majority draw, as opposed to what I'd scored it 1-1-4, 1-1-2. But a really good fight. Well worth a watch. And if there's a rematch, it'll be really interesting to see what improvements both fighters can make to try and secure the win outright next time.